This is a broadcast of SmallCapVoice.com, a financial communications and investor relations firm. SmallCapVoice.com receives payment for investor relations and financial consulting services that it provides to its clients. You should assume that officers, directors, and employees of SmallCapVoice.com or financial analysts mentioned and their families hold a position and intend to trade in these securities for their own accounts. This is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell securities. Information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be, nor should it be construed as investment advice. As in all investments, an investment in the featured company carries an investment risk. Listeners should review the company thoroughly with a registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This broadcast does not purport to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used and statements of fact have been obtained from the featured company and other sources but not verified nor guaranteed by SmallCapVoice.com as to completeness or accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice.
You're wired in. SmallCapVoice.com. Following is a presentation of SmallCapVoice.com, today's leader in investor relations, capital formation, and retail support. Now, with your online business briefing, SmallCapVoice.com's Stuart T. Smith.
Welcome one, welcome all to this online business briefing brought to you by SmallCapVoice.com. And as you just heard, I'm your host, Stuart Smith. And we're joined today for the very first time by DNA Precious Metals. The company's traded under the ticker symbol DNAP. If you'd like to learn more about the company, you could do so by visiting DNAPreciousmetals.com. And we're lucky enough to be joined today by the President, Chairman, and Chief Executive Officer for the company, Mr. Ronald Mann. Ronald, how are you today?
I'm super, Stuart. Thank you for asking me on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to stop by and speak with us here. Now, for our listeners who may not be familiar with what you do there at DNA Precious Metals, if you would, give us the 10,000-foot overview of the company.
DNA is a near-term mining producer based in Quebec, Canada. Our principal asset is the Yukon tailings deposit in historic Montauban, which is about 1 hour west of Quebec City and 2 hours north of Montreal. The residues from the Montauban zinc, lead, silver, gold mine are high in economic levels of recoverable precious metals, being gold and silver. The Montauban mine itself was a base metal producer between 1914 and 1955 and 1984 and 1990 as a silver gold producer. The initial production from the Yukon resource will be gold and silver doré from the residues in the Yukon deposit.
So, Ron, the company's slogan on its website, DNAPreciousmetals.com, is new production from past producers. Tell us a little bit more about that.
DNA is looking for properties that have been in production in the past and have the potential to economically commence production again in the future. Our initial acquisition is in Montauban, Quebec, and we focused on the tailings of the former zinc, lead, copper, gold mine at Montauban, which contain recoverable and economic amounts of gold and silver. The business plan of the company is to start with a small project, and the Yukon project is all-in capital cost under $10 million. Economically start production, and with the revenue from that residue business, look for additional residues and become an environmental remediation company, as well as acquire the former Montauban underground mine and commence mining underground. In addition to the Yukon deposit, there are additional residues in the area that we under negotiation to acquire, as well as the former producer, the Montauban mine, which we also have negotiations to acquire, and we will, upon acquisition, explore that property and target to commence production.
Very good. Well, you are our guest today and one of the leaders of the company. If you would, let's learn a little bit about your background as well as the other key members of the management team.
I have a experience as a CEO of a mining exploration development company. Previously in the Yukon, we had a large base metal deposit I was president of a Toronto Stock Exchange listed company a few years ago, and we took that to scoping study, which is preliminary economic assessment. Prior to that, I was with a mining merchant bank, and prior to that, I was with an investment bank. Yves Gagnon, our VP Operations and Geological Engineer, has 35 experience in the mining industry and also has acted as president of junior mining companies. However, what is most significant about Yves is that he has discovery credit for a deposit with Noranda in what's called the Belle Allard South copper zinc deposit. James Chandick, our Executive Vice President, has project management experience, government relations, and community relations experience, and was the president of the company from inception in 2010 until I came in as CEO in March of 2013. Tony Giuliano, our Chief Financial Officer, is an experienced public company CFO, having been CFO for 3 previous U.S. public companies. Our director, Ted Kreber, has an illustrious career as a corporate director and has previously been president of 2 large commodity distribution companies. And Gary Last, our director, was previously president of Barrick Gold from 1982 to 1986 at the time of the acquisition of the Camflo mine in Quebec for $100 million. Barrick, of course, is now, in 2013, the largest gold producer in the world.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is an experienced and established board as well as management team. And one of the things you brought up earlier, I think, is also a key that the listeners should understand about some of the things that are important with these properties is the community relations. And some of your properties, we've talked to mining companies in the past where it's very difficult to get to where they are mining and exploring. Now, you have a unique property here, and there's roads right up to it. Is that correct?
Roads right up to it. The Montauban mine is proximate to Montreal for shipping of concentrate. The infrastructure is well developed. We have placed hydro, built hydro directly up to the new mill we've built. The labor supply will come from the local town of Montauban, which is about 2 miles away. The water will come from the Batiscan River, which is a large river flowing down to the Gulf of St. Lawrence. And there is railway within 5 kilometers of the mill to take our smelter concentrate up to the smelters in Noranda and Abitibi in northwestern Quebec.
So in terms of infrastructure, listeners, these properties are set up quite nicely, as you can hear. Well, let's talk a little bit, Ronald, about what the company's been up to so far in 2013, and then we'll get your goals for the company going forward for the remainder of 2013 and beyond. But first, what has DNA Precious Metals been working on so far?
I'm going to take it back a little bit before 2013 because some of the things we accomplished in 2013 we actually started in 2012. In 2012, the initial permit to operate a gravimetric circuit for the mill was granted by the Ministry of the Environment in the province of Quebec. We do need additional permits and have applied for those, specifically an upgrade of that gravimetric circuit to include a closed mercurocyanide circuit, and also a permit to operate a restoration facility from the Ministry of Natural Resources. Those applications have been made, and we're optimistic about receiving those permits in October of this year, which is a very short period of time from now. In 2012, we also started construction of the mill building, which is a $1 million structure, a mill immediately adjacent to the Anacon tailings. It's a 16,000 square foot concrete floor, steel structure to house the mill for processing of the tailings, and that mill building was completed in the spring of 2013. The equipment to operate the mill has been sourced and placed on hold. We organized the management and board, and the new board came in, and a new management team in the spring of this year. In terms of financing for 2013, we closed the public IPO for 25 cents a share, and we are looking at financing additionally as we go forth in the fall of 2013. As I mentioned, we applied for our final permits and we have made significant progress towards our $6 million production financing to purchase the equipment and put the mill in production. In addition, we are negotiating acquisitions for DNA, both of additional residues proximate to the Anaconda deposit and the historic Montauban underground mine. In addition, in August of this year, DNA started trading on the OTCQB board in the United States. The stock is currently 31 to 38 cents a share.
Very good. Well, let's talk about some of your goals as the Chief Executive Officer, Chairman, and President of the company. Your outlook for the company, Ronald, here for the remainder of 2013 and beyond.
My outlook is good. DNA is looking at the commencement of production in the second quarter of 2014. That, of course, is subject to production financing this fall, buying the equipment, final permits, all of which are in active negotiations. We are looking at acquisitions of complementary assets that may include the former underground mine at Montauban, and we have negotiations with the Quebec government for purchase and processing of additional residues.
Well, thank you so much for that outlook, Ronald. Any closing thoughts and comments for the shareholders and listeners?
DNA at the current time has 90 million shares outstanding and a share price which is in the 30 to 40 cent range. That gives us a market cap of about $30 million, maybe trending towards $40 million, which, given the potential of the company as the next producer in Quebec and probably the next producer in North America, is an attractive share price for a company that is entering production within a 12-month period. We are looking for and hopeful to make accretive acquisitions which will add shareholder value and grow DNA into a significant mining producer with a couple $100 million market cap. That's it. Look forward to your investment.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ronald. And listeners, as you heard in this audio interview, management team is always a big indication of where a company can go. You've got former members of Barrick, okay, and as Ronald pointed out, they are the #1 gold producer, and you've got established relationships with the community surrounding these mining properties. You've got infrastructure going right to these properties, rail, water, roads. This is a big time play that you need to take a look at right now. That ticker symbol again, DNAP. Please put it on your watch list. Look out for news on this company. For Ronald Mann, this is Stuart Smith saying thanks so much for listening.
SmallCapVoice.com, today's leader in investor relations, capital formation, and retail support, provides its clients with the highest level of service. Our audio interviews are disseminated to one of the largest opt-in audiences available today. How? We at SmallCapVoice.com believe in aligning and affiliating ourselves with other leaders within the investor relations community. By sharing resources, each affiliated firm is made that much stronger and each client is served that much better. Our focus is to identify and provide the very best financial services and solutions available to clients and their shareholders. For more information about our services, please call us at 512-267-2430 or visit us on the web at www.smallcapvoice.com.